Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Aha. Okay. So we'd like to seek the blessings of Lala himself, Bal Gopal, Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan, Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Madhav, Krishna Balaram Gonitai, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees, so that we can share some pastimes of the Lordship. So, why are we in this world, in this samsara? We've forgotten Krishna. We've forgotten his sweetness, which is exactly the bhajan that we just sang, of course. How sweet he is. When we know how sweet somebody is, we fall in love with him. But unfortunately, we're trapped in this samsara, birth, death, old age, and disease. And especially now that good old COVID is rearing its ugly head again, we can see the impact of disease, the impact of old age, the impact of death. And of course, when one dies, Krishna says, one is going to be born. When one is born, one is going to die. Can't escape. So this our activities in this life determines our next life. Our consciousness will determine our next life. The desires we have will determine our next life. So what Krishna does, he comes every age. Whenever, wherever there's decline in religious practice or descendant of predominant rise of a religion, that time he descends. But this isn't the real reason why he comes. This is the external reason. This is so that for the world to see, but for the devotees to see, this is the real reason he comes. Janma karma chame devyam evam yoti tatvata tvaktva dhenam punar janma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So this is chapter 4, text 9. The other one was text 7. So just 2 texts later, Krishna reveals the real reason why he comes. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. This is very important to understand, that the Lord is missing us. We are away from him. We are his children, away from the Father. And naturally, the Father is inclined to miss the children. Even though the children may have forgotten, don't care, yet the Father, at the back of his mind, is always dwelling on what is my child doing? Why is he away from me? Why is he suffering when he can be enjoying? So this is the reason why Krishna comes. Yes, Naliban.
Yes, Prabhuji, what does it exactly mean, that one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance? Knowing what? Knowing how much?
Knowing how he comes and what he does. The Janma, karma.
Oh.
So knowing that he comes as himself, not taking a material body, as Swayam Krishna in this world, and his work, that his work is completely, transcendental, is completely Leela, which he is not subject to the workings of the material nature, like that. So one who knows his transcendental nature, that person will not take birth again in this world. Does that make sense? Anyone?
Yes, that is it, but that must be something deeper meaning, because we know that he is transcendental, he doesn't take birth, he's ajanma. We know that, but just knowing that
is enough. It's enough. Yes, yeah. He says it. It's enough. Because eventually that knowledge is going to be the sword by which we can cut our ties to this material world. It'll take time for that. You're correct in the sense it'll take time for that knowledge to sink in so deeply that we will have unshakable faith in the Lord, no matter what. But just knowing is enough, because you're on the path. You're on the path.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because he doesn't. He's lowered his bar, the standard so much. He just wants us back, you know. But he won't force us. He won't force us. He will want us to make up our own mind. But that's why he's lowered the bar. So simply knowing his appearance and activities, that's enough. That is enough. Of course, he may take a few births. I know in this verse it says, will not take his birth again in this material world. But to actually get transcendental gyan, it will take some time. But this is a very, very strong stepping stone for leaving this material world.
Okay.
And going back, because this is what is the welcome that we will get when we return back to the spiritual world. Where have you been, my friend? Is what Krishna will be saying. And we'll be saying, I forgot you. I'm so sorry. But thank you for coming again and again. Thank you for sending your wonderful devotees again and again. And finally, I've realized my place is with you. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Chaitanya Shikshamrit describes the demons Krishna killed in his Vrindavan pastimes and anarthas, unwanted things with which they may be associated. So there's loads of demons within us. And what Krishna Lila does when we go through Krishna Lila, especially the demon killing pastimes, it frees us from the unwanted things in our heart. So I just wanted to give a little idea of the Krishna Lila that comes from Krishna book by Srila Prabhupada. And we'll do a bit of a summary. So the first chapter talks about the advent of Krishna. So what happened was, over 5,000 years ago, Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth, was unable to bear the burden of the demoniac kings. And she went in the form of Gomata. Often Bhumi will turn into Gomata because she knows Gomata is really appreciated. She went to Brahma for help. Lord Brahma resides in the highest planet of this material world. Don't know if I've got that. Yeah, there he is. That's where she went. And she expressed her sorrow that this earth has turned into hell and I need protection. So Brahma, in his amazing wisdom, said, okay, you know what? Let's go and visit Lord Vishnu. This is a really good pretext to go to see Lord Vishnu. So they approached Kshirodakshayi Vishnu on the ocean of milk at his Shvetadvip planet in this material world. Okay, so we'll come to that in a minute, who this Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is and where is this planet in this our world. This is a spiritual planet. It's not a material planet like ours. And the Devatas, it wasn't just Brahma who went. They used this as an excuse to go and see Lord Vishnu. They all went with Brahma and Gomata. And they approached the Lord with great humility and respect, understanding that he is their only protector and guide. And this is important for us to understand because we should be in that same mood. He's only our only protector, only guide. And actually anything that happens, it's by his divine grace. Even if it may be a challenging situation, maybe something negative that happens to us, or indeed something positive that happens to us, positive for COVID, for example, we have to understand this is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. He won't do anything to us which is going to be harmful to us, the spirit soul. The body is the body. The body will get destroyed one day. There's nothing we can do about that. Even the Lord will not interfere with the workings of material nature. But he will work for the benefit of our spiritual life. So we should understand that whatever happens in this material world, it is for our own good. Even though the initial reactions may be, whoa, this is not good. So where is this? Oh, and when they're there, they're chanting this wonderful prayer, the Purusha Shukta, which is in the Rig Veda. And it's a very beautiful prayer. I just wanted to give a little idea of it, if I can, of course. Sometimes it plays up a bit. These prayers, they would chant every time they went to Shwetadweep. And it goes like this. So, has anybody heard this prayer before?
No.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Fascinating prayer. And this is by the Gurukul children in Mayapur.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing. So I don't know, they used to chant it every morning, like 30 years ago, every single morning. I don't know if they still do that. Probably not. Probably do. Anyway, so they chant these beautiful prayers, and those prayers attract the Supreme Lord, or Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Who is Kshirodaksha Vishnu? He's the third Vishnu. The first Vishnu is the one that breathes out, millions of universes come out of his pores of his skin. Second, and then that Vishnu expands as the second Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, from whom sprouts this lotus flower, on top of whom is Lord Brahma. And then into every single living entity, another Vishnu expands. His name is Kshirodaksha Vishnu, the third Vishnu. He's known as Paramatma. He also has a separate planet of his own within our own material universe, where the demigods go when they need help. So this is where they went. On Shwetadweep planet in our universe, Kshirodaksha lies on the ocean of milk. That's the way they did the prayers. And there's Gomata pleading with Brahma, my dear Lord, please protect. The demigods offer the Purusha Shukta, glorification to appease the Lord. These prayers are in the Rig Veda, as explained the Virat Rup in 18 verses, the universal form of the Lord. Now the Devatas, we know, very powerful beings, but they also pray to the Supreme Lord for his kind protection. So it's an example for us as well. And Lord Vishnu then communicates directly to Brahma. There's a one-to-one phone line they have, direct message, that he will descend in the Yadu family. And the Devatas, Lord guides them, should also take birth on earth in the Yadu family. So mostly they took birth in the Yadu family. Now, how does Brahma get this communication to him? When the heart is pure like Brahma, then we are also able to hear the Lord's guidance because he's always in our heart. Our hearts become pure by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So then the devatas, everybody went away happy. Lord is coming. And they did what the Lord requested. They took birth in different families. So then the pastime starts. Vasudeva, the son of Surasen, was with his newly wedded wife, Devaki. This marriage was made in heaven. And the cousin brother of Devaki was Kamsa. And he was very humbled by this marriage because Vasudeva was his best friend and Devaki was his favorite cousin. So when they got married, he humbly rode the chariot of the newlywed couple. But at that very moment, when he was riding the chariot, a voice came from the sky which told Kamsa that their 8th child would kill him. The 8th child of Vasudeva and Devaki would kill him. Now Kamsa was known as a ferocious prince. He was very cruel and nasty. He was disliked very, very much. So of course, when he heard this prophecy, he became extremely angry. He was ready to kill Devaki. Right? 1 minute love, next minute kill. It's the nature of this material world. But Vasudeva, he appeased him. He stopped him by promising to bring the children to Kamsa when they were born. He would bring them. All the children that were born, I promise you, I will bring them. Now, as I said, Kamsa and Vasudeva were close. And Kamsa knew that Vasudeva will keep his promise. So he believed. Now, there's a lesson for us. Life can throw very challenging situations at us. And the advice, keep a cool head, be devoted to the Lord. Vasudeva cleverly convinced the evil Kamsa not to kill his wife. The situation was dire, right? There was nothing to stop him from killing Devaki. So that was a challenging situation, but Kamsa kept his cool. And he talked through logic. He actually spent quite some time explaining to Kamsa that this is a wild thing that your reputation will be destroyed. You're killing a woman, not just a woman, but your own cousin. But still, Kamsa wouldn't listen. And then eventually he made that promise. Anyway. Vasudeva kept his word. He gave the first son to Kamsa when he was born. But Kamsa let him go, right? Because let the son live. Because only the 8th son was going to kill him. But this wasn't quite what was planned, because it was the idea was that the Lord's plan should be accelerated. So Narad Muni came and he said to Kamsa, "You're a fool, Kamsa. You're so easily fooled. How do you know who is the 8th son?" Right? He started plucking a flower. He said, "Which is the first petal and which is the last petal? Right? The son that you haven't killed might be the 8th son. Who knows? You might be counting it wrong. You might be counting it wrong differently from how the Lord is counting it." So that inspired Kamsa to actually kill all the children one by one as they were born. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Vasudeva and Devaki were put into prison as well because they were let off before. Now they were put into prison. And eventually the seventh son was in the womb of Devaki. The seventh son is actually non-different from Balaram. Is actually Balaram, whose birthday we celebrated last week. And this seventh child was actually transferred to Rohini in Vrindavan. Rohini was another wife of Vasudeva, living under the protection of Nanda Maharaj. And he was so attracted by the womb of Rohini that he transferred. This is Sankar's son, Balaram, transferred. So the lesson from this part of the Bhagavatam, wicked people can be very cruel. So be careful of associating with worldly minded people. They can do anything for sense enjoyment. Sorry, Nanivan, do you want to share?
Yes, in another Zoom class meeting on Janmastami celebrations, the same question was asked that Balram, 8 days, how old actually he was before he was transferred. And it was, I think this was clarified on a Janmastami class from the manner on the, I think it was last few days back on Balram Jayanti, that he was 1 year, 8 days older to Krishna.
1 year, 8 days. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Very good. Appreciate that. So then, finally, Lord Krishna entered the mind of Devaki via the heart of Vasudeva. So, of course, the Lord is this is why that Janma Karma Chame Devyam verse is so important, to understand that the Lord doesn't necessarily appear through the semen. He can, but he doesn't appear through the semen of the man into the womb of the mother. But here is described how he entered into the heart of Vasudeva, and through the heart of Vasudeva entered into the mind of Devaki. So his appearance is transcendental. At the time, the demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva appeared before Devaki and offered many prayers to the Lord. For example, you are the original Supreme Personality of Godhead appearing for our welfare. Although you are unborn, just to protect us, you kindly come. We salute you. So these are very nice prayers. In some ways, you could argue that these are self-motivated prayers, because if you see the difference between the devatas and the pure devotees, the devatas will seek protection, thank the Lord, accept the protection. But the pure devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, they won't even seek protection. They won't even ask the Lord, please protect me. They won't even be aware of any danger because they're so engrossed in worshipping or bhakti yoga that they are always with the Supreme Lord, no matter what. So there's a big, big difference between the pure devotees and others. But of course, it is very, very good to pray to the Lord regularly, thanking him for everything he does for us. If we don't thank him, it just shows how ungrateful we are for what he's given us. And even thanking him for the challenges or the negative things that happen to us is actually a very, very good mentality, very good attitude to have. So that's chapters 1 and 2. Now, the birth of Krishna, I mean, I know people are celebrating today, aren't they? And also tomorrow. So let's go into the birth of Krishna. Why not? Lord Vishnu appeared before Vasudeva and Devaki. So this is his appearance. In order to assure them that they both have nothing to fear, Vasudeva began offering wonderful prayers to Lord Vishnu. My dear Lord, I can understand who you are. You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of all living entities and the absolute truth. Then Devaki, out of motherly affection for the Lord. So the Lord appears, not like a little baby. He appears in his four-handed form, Vishnu, to assure Devaki and Vasudeva, don't worry, I'm here to protect you. But look at the mood of Devaki, right? Once a mother, always a mother. Right? Then Devaki, out of motherly affection for the Lord, prays to Lord Vishnu, please hide your four-armed form. Kamsa will see you and he will harm you. And why don't you just appear as baby Krishna and we will protect you. Then Lord Vasudeva, he spoke and he told us, Lord Vishnu spoke and told Vasudeva to take him immediately to Gokul and replace him with the daughter who had just been born to Mother Yashoda. So in his mind, Vasudeva was so happy when Lord Vishnu appeared that he, even though he was shackled within his mind, he donated 10,000 cows to the Brahmins. And this is regarded to have been actually done. And the lesson to learn is when it is difficult to offer something physically, we can do it mentally. It's an interesting point to understand, remember. Now, we can contrast how the Lord appears in different situations. Lord Ramachandra appeared in the palace at midday. Krishna appears in the prison house in the middle of the night. How different that is. How different that is. Why? So Krishna is so kind. The darkness of night represents no ray of hope in this world, right? And prison means the shackles of Maya. We caught in this dark place, can't escape. We're held here. So Lord Krishna appears in the middle of the night in the prison to assure us, to give us hope. I am your hope. Even I was born in a prison in the middle of the night, just like you are in the middle of Maya, in the dense darkness. I am your hope. Oh yeah, forget about this. So he was born on Astami Tithi and Rohini Nakshatra in the year 3228 BC. Now, it's quite interesting how for Vasudeva to be able to take Krishna out of, when Krishna said, when Vishnu said to Krishna, to Vasudeva, sorry, take me to Gokul, Vasudeva said, yes, I will do. He was shackled. He was in prison. How was he going to do it? So three things happened. Well, one thing was he had a positive mentality. No problem, I'll do it. How? He hadn't got a clue because he had firm faith in the Lord. Anyway, three things happened. The shackles were broken, the doorkeepers fell asleep, and the doors opened. So there are three lessons when we surrender unto Krishna. Karma is finished if Krishna is in the heart. So the shackles are gone, broken. The doorkeepers of Maya, the doors of Maya, lust, anger, greed, go to sleep, just like the doorkeepers went to sleep. And the doors of the spiritual world open, just like the prison house doors opened. This happens if we take shelter of Krishna. The night was very dark, but as soon as Vasudeva took Krishna on his lap and went out, he could see everything just as in the sunlight. So this is when we take shelter of Krishna, we will be able to see clearly. When there is no Krishna, there's no question. When there is Krishna, there's no question of darkness. So try to remember the Lord at all times. When Vasudeva was carrying Krishna in the falling rain, what happened? Sheshna came to serve. But not just did he serve Krishna, he served Vasudeva as well. He protected Vasudeva as well. The Lord changed in the shape of a serpent, spread his hood over the head of Vasudeva so that he would not be hampered by the rainfall. Vasudeva came onto the bank of the Yamuna and saw that the water of the Yamuna was roaring with waves. Still, in that ferocious feature, the river parted to let Vasudeva cross. When we try to serve Lord Krishna, he assists to serve us in many ways. We just have to make the effort. He does the rest. So yeah, sometimes it's going to be challenging to serve him. And these challenges will be brought about by our own mental condition. Or the Lord may set some challenges, or Maya may set some challenges. Usually it's Maya. But when we try to serve him to the best of our ability, he assists us so many ways. We just have to make the effort. He does the rest. Love that. So, on the other side of the Yamuna, he went to Nand Maharaj's palace in Gokul, where everybody was fast asleep. Mother Yashoda had just given birth. She was tired from undertaking that huge task. She fell asleep. She didn't even know whether she had a baby boy or baby girl. Without difficulty, Vasudeva entered and swapped the child. Now here is, and of course, to do that, Vasudeva gave up Krishna and he took the female child with him. That's a huge, huge, huge sacrifice. Can you imagine? But Krishna ordered him and he did it. So we will have same thing happening to us. We'll have to sometimes make some sacrifices for the pleasure of the Lord. Maybe tough, maybe challenging. So this is what will define us when we have these moments. Anyway, here our acharyas give us some incredible enlightenment. Because we've heard that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So how was it that he was born in Mathura and he came to Vrindavan? Actually, it is stated by the acharyas, especially I think it's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur who explains that Mother Yashoda gave birth to twins, baby girl and a baby boy as well. She didn't know, she was tired, she fell asleep. Vasudeva came in, he only saw the girl, he didn't see the boy. When he put the boy down and took the girl, the two merged. The two merged. So the Krishna in Mathura merged with the Krishna in Vrindavan. So this is why it's said that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, because he was born to Yashoda. He's always Yashoda Nandan. We call him Devaki Nandan as well, but primarily he's Yashoda Nandan. Which is very interesting and also quite challenging to get your head around. And that's the end of chapter 3. So I wanted to stop there. If there are any comments or any questions. Shri Krishna Janmastami Motsava Ki Jai.
Guruji,
Yes.
so Krishna was born to Yashoda Maya as well. And
Yeah.
Devaki Maya as well.
Correct.
Oh my
But
goodness.
yeah,
Oh
but,
God.
but there's a difference between the two. The Krishna who never leaves Vrindavan
is
the one who is
Yashoda.
Yashoda Nandan. Devaki Nandan is again, when he leaves Vrindavan at the age of 11, the Krishna of Yashoda never left. The Krishna that had merged at the time of birth, he's the one who left to go to Mathura. And he's the one who kills the demons. He's like see, Krishna, the child, the Yashodananda never kills the demons. That's done by the Devaki Vasudev, Devaki Nandan. Because our Krishna, he simply plays a flute. That's his business. He simply goes to the forest, plays with the cowherd boys. He simply teases the gopis. That's his pastime. That's his leela. He leaves the killing to a expansion of his. And in Vrindavan, the expansion who kills is Devaki Nandan.
Again, Krishna is complicated as ever. Nothing simple. I think he needs something to be told of. He needs something telling of. So complicated, so complicated, so.
Yeah, nothing straightforward about him.
Nothing. Look at Ramji. Look at him.
Yeah. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It's, as you said, it's so complex. Well, he's also very simple, but he's so complex at the same time. We can't help but fall in love with that, you know.
No. Yeah, if something is too simple and straightforward, we can just brush it aside and move on. Yeah. But something like this, notices it stays with us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Prabhuji. Wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for participating, Naniban. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so we can stop there. Shri Krishna Janmastami Motsav ki jai.